We will be going, if we make it through everything here tonight, we will be going through 19 chapters. So we'll be here all night. Don't worry. A lot of chapters are skipped. I'll tell you as we get to them, though, you know, what's kind of going on and that sort of thing. It's just with the type of study we're doing, we're looking directly at the person. We want to stick with the person of Moses, and so we are just going to, that's where we're just going to be picking parts out of certain chapters while looking at Moses here. So, our last meeting together, we looked at the last of the plagues, which was, of course, by far the worst, and that was the losing the firstborn. And the Israelites, however, were spared as long as they had the blood applied to the doorposts, and as long as they went, you know, yes, to the doorposts and went over their door, and the angel of death would pass over when it came through. And so that is where we are picking up, is where Pharaoh, and not just Pharaoh, if you remember from last week, it was Pharaoh and all the other Egyptians wanted the Israelites gone to the point where the Egyptians themselves were taking their own goods and everything to help them on their way. Oh, you need this to travel here. Take it. We want you gone. That is how badly they wanted the Israelites just gone. They didn't want to see them, deal with them anymore. They were sick of everything they had to deal with all the plagues. So that is where we are picking up. They, and you know, it sort of works with tonight how we were, I was just talking about, you know, just going off and then God bringing us back and that sort of thing. Or many times, I mean, so Cassie and I believed that when we first got married, that it was God's plan for us, okay, to go down to Tennessee, because of the fact of it was a time we were essentially for just over 3 months, I think it was, we were unplugged, as you might call it. And that's one other thing that'll be hard for the kids up at that cabin. You know, no Wi-Fi, no cell service, nothing up there. You are totally unplugged. So anyways, when we were down there, because we did not have the distraction of technology, we did not have the distraction of social networking and all of that sort of thing and all the other people's drama, being newlyweds, where was our attention going to? Each other.
Sure.
Okay? That, I mean, Cassie and I still look back at it. I mean, and just really treasure those few months. I mean, it was just a thing of just that special time of, you know, just like I said, just no distractions. You know, I'd get home from work, just her and I and the dog. You know, it's just like we could do whatever we wanted instead of just getting buried in we didn't even have TV until the last month or so. So the first couple months we didn't have TV, no internet. What we did is once a week, we went down, even though we were very rural, about 10 minutes away, to McDonald's, and they had a special there, 2 ice cream cones for 99 cents. So we would get 2 ice cream cones, that way we wouldn't feel bad about, you know, using the internet, and we'd go on and to answer messages and that sort of thing, communicate with different people that we only did through like Facebook or whatever, messaging. And so that's, it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. Well, with where I was going with that little rabbit trail, it's amazing where God sometimes leads us, okay, in our lives. And many times it may make absolutely no sense at all. Why does he do it? Typically, it's his way of reminding us, okay, that he is in control. I mean, it kind of goes along with the message this morning, just him being in control, him guiding us having faith in him that he is going to see us through whatever this difficulty is that we're going into. And that is what we see with the Israelites when they leave Egypt. If I had a map for you tonight and you were to look at it of the route that they took, you would say, why? That is the most foolish, that is the most stupid route that they could have taken. Okay, it literally led them into a dead end. Okay, and it literally led them right into a dead end, and they have come now upon the Red Sea. And at this point, this is where we are picking up. Let's go ahead and on chapter 14, I think that's what I told you. Chapter 14, pick it up in verse 4. This is God speaking. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his host, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with an high hand. So what we're seeing here is, okay, the Lord hardened his heart, Pharaoh's heart, which we see quite a bit through this. But so Pharaoh has all of a sudden come to the realization, as well as the Egyptians. Now, when it says the Egyptians, I'm sure it does not mean it's probably not talking about the commoners. Okay, in this sense, it's probably more meaning all those other uppity ups and all those other mucky mucks up there. They had the money, they lived in the really nice houses, other ones that may have lived in the palace. They're like, wait, we don't have servants now. We don't have people to do this work for us. What do? We were foolish in doing this. I mean, yeah, that stuff happened, but it can't get any worse than what it did, right? So what do? So Pharaoh took off after them, and have now been chasing after them for a while. Now, the Israelite nation, you have to remember, is very large, okay? And it's not just adults, it's kids. It's not just adults and kids, it's animals. It'd be wagons carrying their belongings. All of this sort of thing. So in other words, what does that mean? They're not moving at 50 miles an hour, okay? They're going at a pretty slow pace. Whereas the Egyptians that are coming after them now, they're in chariots. They've got their horses running. They're coming after them. They catch up to them quick. Even though they had a good head start, they still are going to be able to catch up to them pretty quickly. So this is now where the Israelites are seeing they have a little bit of a conundrum going on here. Let's pick it up. Same chapter 14, verse 11 now. The Israelites, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than we should die in the wilderness. Now, we will see, as we're going through tonight, the fact that the Israelite nation has really perfected the art of whining. Okay? If anybody nowadays says their child perfected it, no. It goes back to biblical times, the Old Testament. The Israelites were the ones that really perfected whining. But, so here they are, they're coming to Moses and just saying, we would have been better off. Why were they saying this? Okay? They, at this point, with where it was and in the region where they were, they would have been able to see the dust cloud. And they would have known, risen by the chariot wheels and the horses' hooves and that. So they would know they're coming after us. And which means, since they're coming after us, we're going to be going back and we are going to be enslaved like worse than we've ever had before. That's what is going through the Israelites' mind. They're not even thinking about how God took care of them and spared them from so many of those plagues. And now they're out of Egypt. Okay, God's going to take care of us. All they're looking at is, using the terms from this morning, that furnace, that fire in front of them, or in this case, big body of water in front of them. They're looking at that big body of water, and it's just like, we're done for. It's not, if there wasn't a thing of, okay, God, there's nothing we can do here. It's up to you. What are you going to do to take care of us? Wasn't that at all. They didn't even, as far as we can see, they didn't consider God in the least bit. Not in the least bit. Continuing on to verse 13, Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, you shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said to Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. Now before I read the next verse, so what we have here, okay, this is showing, just like this morning, I said there's so many people that are such good examples of faith, at least at times in their life, okay? Here, Moses is presented with that same exact issue as everyone else. Everyone else is whining, and he goes, what does he say? He says, don't worry, fear ye not. See the salvation of the Lord. He's going to show to you this day. Okay, God hasn't told him how he's going to take care of him. He doesn't know what's going to happen. It hasn't quite hit that yet. Yet he's saying, don't worry. You won't ever, these Egyptians that are coming towards you, you will never see them again. Guess what? I'll give you a little hint or a little thing here. Nobody ever saw them again. But, yeah, exactly. We'll see that in a few minutes. So it says, the Lord shall, in verse 14, the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. He's just saying, oh, would you shut up? The Lord's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of it. And that's what he's saying. Hold your peace. Shut up. And then comes where God reveals to Moses how he is going to do it and how he's using Moses. Verse 16, but lift thou up thy rod and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. Now there is a place, I'm not going to get real technical here, okay, in the Red Sea, which is right down where they would have been crossing. Okay, the Red Sea is extremely, extremely deep. Well, it just so happens there is one spot right down towards the southern end, which is where the Israelites were, that there is a land bridge. Now, it's still deep, okay? It's still, if I remember right, a few miles deep there in the deepest part. However, I think it's something like 5 miles deep. With how wide that span is, though, It's a gradual thing that goes down and comes up on the other side. Nowhere else in the Red Sea is that. Archaeologists have found the remnants of chariots, chariot wheels. Even one thing that was a little bit surprising was even some of the metal parts left from like the horse's bits and from horse tack and that sort of thing left as well. And some people have tried to scoff at that too, by the way, and say, oh, well, who knows how that stuff could have gotten there. They went and looked because like, oh, it's from all different periods. One little thing. There were a ton of different types of chariots, which would have been from different dynasties, except one problem. There was one dynasty. This particular dynasty, this one where he was in power, he liked all of them, all of the previous chariot designs of the dynasties or whatever, so he decided to keep them all. It was that was the only dynasty where they had all of them. Okay? So anyways, give you that one little tidbit where it has been shown that this is actual, what you could call proof, okay, that this happened here. So, continuing on, let's pick it up in verse 21 now. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Let's stop real quick. So, they get, Moses does exactly as he says. He stretches out his hand with the rod over the sea. And God parts the sea. A great strong wind comes up, and it not only does it part the sea, but you notice there's one little, there's one phrase that is used multiple times, and that is dry ground. Okay? Dry ground. So many people say, oh, well, or even illustrations you'll see, it's muddy. You know, they're going through mud. No. I mean, and that's the reason why I'll say it. I mean, I said it this morning, I'll say it tonight, is that, and I'll say it many times throughout my life, I guarantee. If it's said once in the Bible, it's important. If it's said more than once, well, then it must be real important.
And it's about time you pay attention.
Exactly. So that is one thing here, a very important thing. Dry ground is what they went over. And one thing that, until more recent years, it never really occurred to me why it had to be totally dry ground. And when I learned this, when I worked up at the farm, was that when you have a little bit of, say, soft ground. When I say soft ground, I mean just the slightest bit muddy, slightest bit mushy. When you keep going over that ground, over that ground, over that ground, remember, this is not a small little group of Israelites. It is a lot. Animals, people, wagon wheels, all of these sort of things. What happens is the vibrations, the pressure, makes more water rise up, which will then just create soup. Okay? So, if it was not totally dry ground, only half, the Israelites would have had left tons of their belongings behind. The wagons wouldn't have been able to get through. It had to be totally dry ground for the Israelite nation to get through. I mean, it's one thing that's just baffles my mind even still today. I just can't really even picture it. Just walking through and seeing that wall of water, just, you know, pretty much almost as far as the eye can really see, up on both sides, and just, you know, seeing the fish swimming around, or whatever. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's just such an amazing feat. And then, as we'll see, we might not actually get that far tonight, but as we will see, you would think this great thing would mean that the Israelite nation would be so grateful afterwards. Like I said, they perfect the art of whining. So anyways, you have the Israelites. They get to the opposite side. You notice the phrase it uses, verse 23. The Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea. So here, I have to say, they must have been, they either had extreme tunnel vision, just going after those Israelites to not even notice what's going on around them, okay? Or they are just so, let's say, afraid for their lives that, Pharaoh's going to kill us if we don't go after him, For them to just pursue and go after them. And it says they get down in the midst of the sea. They got down to the middle. They got to the deepest part of that area. And is at this point, verse 24, it came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. So what we see first, and one may say at first, well, that's kind of cruel, isn't it? There's a reason for it. So many people miss one little part of this account. They think that here, and they have this picture of the horsemen, the chariots coming down through, they get in the middle, and the sides, the water just comes in on top of them. It was more than that. God first made, this is the first vehicle recall issue that we see, mass recall. The chariot wheels fall off. Okay, so then the horses, what does that do? Well, sure, those horses can still drag them, but it's going to be really hard. They're going to slow way down. It's at this point that the Egyptians that are in the chariots even see, and they're just like, so we're not talking one or two chariots lose a wheel. All of the chariots lost all the wheels. Okay? And it's at this point that these Egyptians see this, and they say, and then they come to their senses, and they realize what's going on. They go, the God is fighting for them. And it's at this point they turn to flee. But this is where I said some people may think, it's kind of cruel. Why not just let them go back?
Because they'll just keep doing it over.
They would still keep coming after. Pharaoh would have still sent them and had them go and pursue after the Israelites. However, that instead, by then having Moses stretch out his arm and staff again and bring the walls of water down and take out those Egyptian soldiers, okay? One thing about this, Pharaoh did not send a few of his soldiers out. He sent, other than his personal guards and those that would have been stationed, at his, I'll just use the term, at his palace, okay? At his palace, other than that, he sent out the majority, if not the whole rest of his military. So, you know what? Ultimate proof. Israelites would have seen this happen, and they would have known. Wow, God is protecting us. Look at that. Pharaoh we're definitely not going to see him anymore. We don't have to worry about Pharaoh anymore, because Pharaoh now doesn't have a military to come after, to come after us. Oh, let's see. Verse 28, and the waters returned, covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all the hosts of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. Not a single one made it through. As I said, we will see here continuing on that the Egyptians really did not truly appreciate what God did for them here. It does not take long for them to start complaining. Let's go into chapter 15 to look at the next time that God really uses Moses. Chapter 15, in verse 22. So this is, they've only been, as we're going to read here, it's only been 3 days since the Red Sea incident. Okay? Only 3 days. Verse 22. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? Murmured against Moses basically means they whined. What are we going to drink? And he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I had brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth. So first of all, they come upon a place of water. This is awesome. They've been traveling for 3 days. They're thirsty. Obviously, they're human, okay? They're out in the wilderness. They're walking. You know, that a lot more walking. They're thirsty. And I'm sure the animals are thirsty too. They come upon this place of water. Okay, this is great. There's some water. However, it is nasty water. This the term bitter here essentially means stank water, stale water, and not just stale, but if you're almost like swamp water, you could say, even worse. Stagnant. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Stagnant. There's on one of the trails, I can't remember which trail it is now. It's been too many years. Obviously, I don't go out hiking up mountains too often anymore. But back before I met my wonderful wife, who's an awesome cook and baker, and I was about 100 pounds smaller. I knew every trail on Mount Scotney. Well, there's one of the trails right next to the trail in a grove of trees, totally protected. Sun never reaches it. There's a small little pool of water. Let me tell you, you can smell that water from quite a ways away. Sun never reaches it, okay? It is nasty. That is essentially what this body of water was, okay? Not something drinkable for anything, okay? It's not good for anything in that sense. And the Israelites whine about it. So Moses cries unto the Lord. I'm sure Moses is dying of thirst too, okay? God said, pointed out a certain tree to him. Now we don't know. I'm going to say that it's not that important, okay? The type of tree is not important to what's going on here. Okay, what it is this God is showing, having him do something that doesn't make sense to create. I mean, that's what really a miracle is, right? Something that cannot happen. Okay? So you go over to that tree right over there, take a branch, put that branch in the water, it'll be clean. I guarantee you, if I was to go back up to that pool of water up by Scotney, I could try as many branches from different types of trees as I wanted. And you know what? I would still not drink any of that water. But it says that it was made sweet, meaning it was made drinkable, clean water. And one other thing I wanted to point out, when you read verse 26, which we read, it's almost sounding like it's saying like, if you don't do all of this, I will punish you. That's actually not what it's saying, okay? It's the way that Moses wrote it. It kind of sounds that way, but what it means is when it's saying, and will give ear to his commandments, keep all his statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon thee that I put upon the Egyptians. What God is saying here is, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
That's as simple as what it's saying here. Okay? You know what? Essentially, how can I put this? You have faith in me. I will take care of you. Goes along with this morning. Have faith in me. I will take care. We saw that this morning with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in that fiery furnace. It was that level of faith. I mean, and imagine that. The only things, not to get off on too much of a tangent, the only thing on them that burned at all were the ropes that bound their hands, that bound most likely their feet as well. Okay? And yet, not only were they not scorched or burned, not a single hair was singed, there wasn't even the smell of smoke on them. God will take care of us. That's what it's saying here, is that have faith in me, that I will take care of you. So, here's a second time that God has, since they have left Egypt, that God has done a miraculous thing for the Israelites and used Moses as his instrument or as his tool to get it done. Now let's go to chapter 16 and see another one. Chapter 16. Perfecting the art of whining, starting right in verse 2. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. That means, once again, they started whining again. Okay? And the children of Israel said unto them, would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, real quick, so before I read verse 4. Didn't we just read this? But instead of being hungry, they were thirsty. Same exact thing now. So in other words, this means that their provisions of food they brought with them have run out. They're hungry. Now they're saying the same exact thing. Oh, we would have been better off in the Lord just blessed us, if the Lord would just bless us, leaving us there where we had food. We had the stuff to be able to make bread. Yada, 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 yada. Okay? Just whining and whining. So Moses, once again, goes to God for the Israelites. Verse 4, the Lord said to Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. So, God says, okay, I'm going to do another miraculous thing, something that does not happen. Food is going to fall out of the sky. Okay? And for any of those that might have kids and everything, I was going to say that the movies, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, comes to mind. But anyways, that's a couple of cute movies there, by the way. But anyways, this is a miraculous thing, something that does not happen. So this is what God's going to do for them. Let's go down to verse 14. So we are in chapter 16, verse 14. And when the dew that was lay was gone up, so when the morning dew had dried, okay, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. When the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. Now, this is a little bit different kind of a miracle, though. This isn't a one-time deal. Okay? The Red Sea was a one-time, event. That water, purifying that nasty stank water, was a one-time event. This one was, you go out in the morning and you collect only enough for that day. It's too bad Sharon Lawrence isn't with us here tonight. She would have thrived then with manna. She's got a digestion issue where she has to cook all of her food from scratch, fresh every day. She can't have leftovers even of the food she makes. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. She would have been good with this, fresh every day. And they were only to take that they would eat in one day. Why? Because by the next morning it would be rotten. But what did I say? It wasn't a one-time deal. Every morning. There was one time, and this also proves, okay, another miraculous thing. God's in control. God is doing this. Is that on the sixth day, okay, so the manna only lasts for 24 hours, but on the sixth day, they were to gather 2 days worth. Right. Wait a second. 2 days worth, they're going to eat half, the other half will be rotten. No, miraculously, that manna would last 2 days. That was because of the Sabbath, because going out and gathering that manna would have been considered working, which they were not to do. This is another time when we see God helping the Israelites, doing a miracle for them, and using Moses to a point as his tool. Now, there are other things that we aren't going to look at throughout this study, especially with Moses, where it's literally just him being God's mouthpiece to tons of rules, regulations, and that sort of thing. Just because of the type of study we're doing, we won't look at those, but let's see how much further we can go. We have a few more minutes. Let's go to the next chapter, chapter 17. Okay, so the Israelites first, so they complained because they were up to the Red Sea. They were at a dead end. They couldn't go any further. Egyptians were after them. God caused a miracle to happen. They were saved. Then they were thirsty. God gave them fresh water. Then they were hungry. God gave them food to eat. Okay, well, what could they possibly complain about next? Verse 2. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and say, Give us water that we may drink. They're thirsty again. Yeah. Sounds almost like kids at certain points. But anyways, Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people murmured against Moses and said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. Do you notice something when it comes to the Israelites? How thick-headed they must be. Okay? Because I'm not just talking about their whining. Who are they whining to or at? Moses, not God. They're not even considering God at all.
No,
They're just going to Moses as if Moses is the one that is doing these things. And even though Moses keeps saying it's God doing it, and everything. But so, anyways, we see this again. They're doing the same thing. Oh, it would have been better for us to have been in Egypt because we're just going to die of thirst. We're so thirsty. Verse 5, and the Lord said to Moses, let me make sure I'm in the right place here. Yes, verse 5. And the Lord said to Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thine hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Now, this is another one that is, as much as this one can be, proven that this happened. You go over there to and go over to this area. There is a very large rock, and the name of the rock means something like water bursting forth or something like that. That is the name. That's the meaning of the odd name of this rock. It is a huge rock. Everything else, it's out of place. Okay? And if you look everything else around, it's out of place. It is broken straight down the middle. It is broken down the middle. And one thing, and they don't know, the people don't know, it's just, that's the way it's always been, the name of it, the name of that rock and everything, and it meaning like water bursting forth or something like that, okay? So one thing that people might think is, oh, well, somehow, over millions of years, that rock was hollow or something, and somehow water got trapped in it. One thing, it is a solid rock. There is you can look in that break, in that split, in this huge rock. It's solid all the way through. And even the thing is too, even though it is a huge rock, even if it was only an inch thick in the whole inside hollow, that would not have held enough water for the whole Israelite nation and for their animals. Okay? It would not have been able to hold enough. But so this is what he does. Another amazing thing, he has Moses take that staff, the same one from the Red Sea parting, and go up and smite the rock, okay? And this is what is also amazing when you think about it too. Another thing is, this is a giant rock we're talking about. We're not talking about a little rock where anybody might be able to take a staff, because a lot of times the staffs had a big old knot up at the top, or sometimes they might have actually put, so that way it'd be a good weapon in the wilderness, they would have had a rock set into it or something like that. Okay, so you go up to a rock, if you might be able to break a rock open. This size of rock, I don't care how much you wail on it, you're just going to break the staff. It's not going to break the rock in half. Instead, the rock broke in half, and enough water flowed from it, and would have had to have continued flowing from it, or else it would have soaked into the ground. So water would have had to keep flowing from it as a stream or as a river, a small river, for the whole Israelite nation and all their animals and everything to be able to get enough water and be satisfied. We are actually at 7 o'clock right now. So we will go ahead and end with that one tonight. Here, I thought we'd get through all of them, but oh well.
That's what happens when you go down to all those rabbit holes.
Yes, I know. Sunday school teacher I had as a kid, we liked getting him off on rabbit trails. Thought it was the most hilarious thing, and now I get myself off on rabbit trails. So God's sense of humor.
Yes.
But anyways, so we saw 1, 2, 3, 4 tonight. 4 ways, 4 times that God used Moses as a tool to perform miracles for the Israelite nation, who obviously, even still, and as we will see when we pick it up next week, they still did not appreciate what was being done for them. Let's close in prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you so much for your love. I thank you so much for your word, and Lord, all the lessons that we can learn from in here. And Lord, I just thank you for the fact of this person, Lord, that we're looking at now, Moses, that even with the mistakes, Lord, that he has made in his life, Lord, that you still continue to use him, Lord, as your tool to take care of your people, to take care of the Israelite nation. And Lord, I just pray that we can also take from that, Lord, that you still do take care of your people, Lord. And that's not just the Israelite nation, Lord. You take care of all your children. Lord, anyone who puts their faith, puts their trust in you, Lord, can guarantee that you will be there to take care of them, fight for them, bring them through the fiery trials in their lives. And Lord, I just pray that we would dwell and ponder on this, Lord, throughout this week. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, everyone.